what percentage should the manager take?
Straight up. I mean, the numbers, yeah.
As I don't know, everyone's an artist here, innit? So I'm just up to you lot. No, but really, it's like 20%, 15%, even 10%. Depends on what you're dealing with. You know what I mean? If it's a thing where you as a manager are invested into someone, then you can even go for more. You know what I mean? It really does depend. You know what I mean? It breaks down.
Is it a contractual thing? Like, okay, you could be my manager for 3 years, and if I like you, I renew the contract, or is it a thing of just like?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. My first ever like gig or whatever, I put like a contract in place, just like a small, nothing crazy, just to say that, you know what I mean. If you go and blow, you can't run. You know what I mean? That's what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Let's say for off the rip, like you have an artist that you're working with. How responsible is the manager for covering expenses and things like that?
Bro, it really depends, man. If someone's coming up from the mud and then you go and pay for everything, naturally you're gonna feel like, yo, like, you know what I mean? I've helped. Cool, you are the talent, understandably, but every talent does need to be put on a, you know what I mean, so people to see. You know what I mean? Not every diamond gets, you know what I mean, sees daylight. So it depends. Man.
If you put it more weight, do you take more percentage? Is the question.
If the artist is already big, then naturally, nah. You know what I mean? You could get declined that. It's about your approach and your relationship with the artist. You know what I mean? You can go to them and say, look, this is how I'm feeling. If they're thinking nah, then you know what I mean? Then it's a conversation to be had.
Tayze, so as a manager, do you feel like, obviously, if you're bringing things to your client, like you're the one patterning stuff, yeah, then obviously you will take your cut. But would you understand if an artist is sorting out his own stuff, like he might have been out and met a promoter, and the promoter's like, yeah, come and do this show for me.
100%.
Would you understand then like that? You don't.
100%. I think that's, to be honest, that's how I actually operate. My thing is, if I bring something to your table, then I'm with you. You know what I mean? If you then go and blow off that 2 years later, that's fine. Like, you go and do your thing, no issues, innit? Otherwise, we'll still have business. You know what I'm saying? So I think the best way is, if I now, let's say, hook you up with someone, and then something good comes from it, like, I will never eat off something that's like less than a certain percentage. Like, as always teach me this, like, I'm not taking a certain percent. If it's less than that, then I'm not touching it. You know what I mean? That's just how it goes. So how can you take someone that's getting £10, you're gonna come and now take £2? It's a bit deep. It don't make sense. You know what I mean? So if you can help where you can help, then you push on. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it's not really.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify that for the independent artists, because do you understand that a lot of independent artists think that a manager will take 20% of everything that they earn, and that is what puts them off having a manager?
Yeah, because you'll get a booking agent. A manager will go and get a booking agent who then wants a percentage, and then the manager wants a percentage. Like, it's different for everyone, but for me personally, the way I built my relationships, I never took a percentage for a very long time. You know what I mean? For long. As long as I'm good, I can pay my bills, and I know where we're going, the direction we're going, I don't really need to come and then take a little 15% or 10% or something that's not even, you know what I mean? If we're talking millions, that's different. You know what I mean? Because like, you're good. But if it's just like, you know what I mean? It don't make sense. You know what I mean? So you can work to get to that. You know what I mean? As long as you have a passion for it as a manager, because we're rare.
As a manager, what do you see like in an artist beforehand? Do you see him like, when would you be interested in an artist? Is it when he's already like doing his thing, blowing up, or is it something that you see like how would you find an artist?
So it is, my judgment gets clouded bare because I'm into like that original street rap type of, you know, I grew up on like all Jadakiss and them kind of guys. So when I see something like that, naturally I'm drawn to it. But the industry kind of threw a little filter on it, and it's made me feel like, nah, you know what, you have to hit these certain targets. You know what I mean? He has to be, or she has to be marketable. She has to be saying a certain thing, or the sound needs to be with a certain time. You know what I mean? It needs to be, you know what I mean? So for me personally, I just like someone that you can just see that they're raw and they're real with it. You know what I mean? No matter how it is, whether they sing or whichever, if you can see that, then that persona of that person that you're reading there in front of them, you can see that this will look good in front of the world. You know what I mean? Everyone else will probably, if I can fuck with it here and there, then someone else will. So I just kind of treat it like that. You know what I mean?
As a manager, what are some of the things that you alleviate from an artist? So, i.e., as you said, finding booking managers. What are some of the other things that you find yourself doing for artists?
In some cases, you can deal with like day-to-day logistics. You know what I mean? The small things, like literally just being active on whether it be an email account or whichever, just dealing with anything and any conversation you have with the thought of soul artists. You know what I mean? If I'm just talking, even if you're a librarian, I might talk to you and you say, oh, but you know, my uncle, you know what I mean? You have to kind of always have that direction. But in terms of actually doing things, it's things like bookings, whether it be booking things like studio, getting them with other artists, recommending stuff. Like I work quite close. I'll be in the studio with the man them.